All right, so I briefly mentioned OneDrive in the Microsoft 365 video, and I realized I should probably show you what that is. So first we'll start with the web OneDrive. So this is my OneDrive. It is an absolute mess. I really need to clean up my file management, but you just access that through the app launcher as usual through your MyDAO once you're logged in. So in the OneDrive I have all of my folders, and in my folders I have all of my associated files. So these are a bunch of Word documents that I have, some images that I have saved, PowerPoint presentation. If I go back in here, I have some other things. So this is another course. So I have some graphs, some data files, all of those things. So they're saved in here. They're not saved on my desktop. Actually they are, but I'll get to that in a second. But these are all saved on the cloud. They're all set. These ones are all set to private, but if it was a shared document, it would say shared, and you can click and see who it's shared with. And I'm able to, share these, download them, organize them, which I really should do. These are some shared libraries here. So these are some teams that I have with other people that have files associated. So this is OneDrive. So I can open the documents here in my web browser, and that will open in the web application of Microsoft Word. And there's my document. I can also go back and I can download that. I can open it in my desktop application. All of those things. So let me open it in my desktop application. So we'll open in Word. So now that's going to open in Microsoft Word. And that will be the document. I think it was opened already. Hold on. So now that's open in Microsoft Word, and I can edit it as I would, decide to do. Some of the great things about OneDrive, though, is if I make some changes, this is going to save back to my OneDrive. That will usually automatically be set. I think because it froze because I had two files open with the same title is why that wasn't automatically done. So now every time I make a change, it's going to automatically save my file to my OneDrive account, which is my cloud account. And I can change the name, and I can change the location, I can move it. But what's really nice is I can also look at the version history. So I can see, okay, today's when I last modified it, but I can also go back to the previous versions before I made changes, and open those previous versions to see what they looked like. So if I made a change and end up messing up this entire document, or I wasn't supposed to change this document, I can just open this old version. It's in read only, and I can save it and restore it, or I can compare it to the original, the one that I'm currently working on. So that's really nice if your computer crashes or something happens and a big section of your work disappears or whatever it might be. You can just go back into your version history, but you have to have it saved to OneDrive. So let me open a new file. I'll just use Word, but you can do this with PowerPoint and Excel, all the same way. And I first have to save the file. So I'm just going to save it to, I have a folder for our course actually. All right, so I've just saved that to a file for this course, and that's my test. So now whenever I type, it's going to automatically save it because I saved it to OneDrive. So I'll show you that again. So there's a new item. I'm going to go Save, select a OneDrive folder, title it, and now it's going to automatically save to my OneDrive. So if I was working on this, say at the library, I made sure I was logged in and I saved it to my OneDrive, and then I come home and I want to open it. I would either go to the web app, or I also have it downloaded on my computer. So I could go to my OneDrive, and OneDrive will actually connect to your computer's File Explorer window. So it won't open as its like own app. It will open as your File Explorer, and then I can go back into that document, double click, and it will open back up. Now you can customize your OneDrive settings so that I have mine just down here. You can also open things from your toolbar depending on what your settings are. But you can change your settings so that only certain items will save on your desktop. So I have some folders set to exist downloaded on my desktop as well as on the cloud, and then other folders that are only on the cloud. And that's useful because if it's an old file that I'm not using anymore, maybe from a class that I took 2 years ago, I don't need to have that on my desktop. I'm probably not going to be using those files, you know, maybe ever, but I still want to keep them. I just leave them in the OneDrive, but I don't have that file set to also exist on my hard drive. I don't want to waste that space. So that's a nice feature in OneDrive as well. Again, there are resources on the Dell IT Services page on how to use OneDrive. I'll link that below this video, as well as some other tutorials and best practices online. But OneDrive is great. I highly recommend it. I was doing my master's when the Cox Building fire happened, and thanks to my saving everything to OneDrive, I only lost a few files, whereas some of the other grad students and profs in particular weren't using OneDrive and ended up losing a ton of data, as well as, you know, having to wait like 4 months to get the hard drive recovery, and they still lost some files. But anyway, highly recommend OneDrive.